Hey boys and girls, welcome to Outdoors with Mr. White. I'm Mr. White and we're outdoors. Today we're going to take a look at different types of wildlife shelters. Your home is your shelter, and when you're inside your home you should feel very safe. Well, animals also need to be safe and they need to be protected in shelters too. So today we're going to see some shelters in the ground, we're going to see shelters in trees, and even some shelters in the water. And at the end of our session, I have a special shelter challenge for you. I hope you're up for it. Let's go. Boys and girls, look at that activity. And a big hole in the middle. This is a huge, huge anthill. These guys are working like crazy. Look at them all going there. Boys and girls, look in this bush. If you look deep in that bush, you'll see there's a shelter for another bird. This is a robin's nest. I don't know how he gets in there. But this robin built that nest in there. It's very well protected, I guess. It's in all the clump of these bushes. But that's a very cool nest. Did you see that little slide in the middle with the hole stuck in the side of the bank? Well, that's where a muskrat lives. They make their homes just on the sides of the banks, and that way they can even come in here in the wintertime. They stay in that hole, and then they chew a little hole in the ice, and when they want to go in the water, they slide in all the way down that slide, and they go right into the water, and they can swim around, and then they can come back out and go in that hole all of the time, in the winter or in the summer. That's his kind of... Boys and girls, look at this. We're coming through the grass here, and I just came across this little clump of dirt and cattails and mud, and it's at the edge of this big pond here in the middle of the marsh. But this is not just a regular old shelter. This is also made by a muskrat, and you know that a muskrat will dig a hole on the banks of a waterway. I just showed you that. But a muskrat is very, very versatile, and what he also can do is he likes to make lodges like a beaver lodge. So this one here is actually not a beaver lodge. This is a muskrat lodge. And he builds these things the same reason that a beaver makes them. And that's so that he can climb inside and he's safe from all the predators that might come around, like a fox or an eagle or stuff like that. Sometimes muskrats even move into beaver lodges and they kind of share because I think beavers are easy to get along with. There come a couple. We'll stay quiet and see if they come close. That's a muskrat. Cool. This place is full of them. There's another one right there coming towards us. There's another guy right there going into the bushes. There's two of them crisscrossing. Just dove down. I don't know where they're going. There's two of them. Remember, they can hold their breath for like 15 minutes. Oh, there's one. There's another one right there. Going across the water. There must be a lot of muskrat shelters over here. But it's kind of neat seeing where the groundhog lives. Isn't that neat? There he is, look. And they dig these big holes in the side of the bank. That's a groundhog, and this is where he lives. This was a big beaver dam, and now the beaver's not here anymore, and all the water's gone away. You can see where the dam's been broken over there, and all the water's just gone away. And this is what the bottom used to look like when the beaver used to swim around. He had all this underwater. Yeah, that would have been his lodge. The beaver's home is called the lodge. So he would swim up in there and he would stay underneath there in the winter time. And he would go up in there and he would stay in that house. It just looks like a pile of junk to me, but I know that this is the beaver's house. because this would have been in the middle and water would have been all around them, so nobody could get to them unless they could swim. So the first thing I need is I need a piece of rope. Second thing I need, I'm going to need some type of a piece of cloth or material. A blanket will work great, a tarp or anything like that. Sometimes even a towel would make a good shelter if you were only small. And I need 3 or 4 pieces of small rope and something to tie the rope to. You'll see what I mean as we do it. Now I'm going to take the end of my rope and I'm going to wrap it around the tree, and I'm going to do an overhand. So I go over, down the hole, and I pull. Now, just in case, I'm going to do another one. So I'm going to, the rabbit jumps over, comes up through the hole, and I pull. And that way there my knot is good and secure. So now that my knot is around one tree, I'm going to go over to my other tree. I'm going to wrap that rope around the other end, so now my rope is going across. And I'm going to do another. The rabbit's going to jump over, and then he's going to come up through the hole, and I pull it tight. Let's try that again. Ready? Rabbit jumps over, comes up through the hole. There we go. So now our rope is in between the 2 trees. Now we're going to take our blanket or our sheet. This, in fact, is a shower curtain. I don't know where I got this one, but this is a shower curtain. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to lay my shower curtain over top of my rope. So that kind of makes the top part of my little shelter, my tent. So now watch what we're going to do. We're going to take some sticks, and I can't have my shelter just hanging like that. So I'm going to take some sticks and I'm going to stick them out here a little bit away from my shelter, and I'm going to stick them in the ground. Now, I don't think you're going to stick sticks in the floor of your house, so you might just set something here to tie to. You'll see what I mean. So now I have one stick stuck in the ground there. Let's stick another stick over here. Maybe on my rope. 2 more sticks. And I'm going to stick them out here away from my rope, and out here away from my rope. So now, this is what I have. I have my rope nice and tight. I have my sheet or my towel or my blanket, whatever I've chosen, or my shower curtain up over top of my string. And I have stakes or sticks stuck in the ground on all 4 corners of my sheet. Now, I'm going to take one corner of my sheet, and I'm going to take a piece of string or a piece of rope, and I'm going to tie it. I'm going to make like a little knot in the end of my towel. This will help give us something to tie to. So I make a little overhand knot. You know how to make those. The rabbit jumps over and comes back up through the hole, and then I pull. So now I have a little overhand knot on the edge of my towel, okay? So let's do that on all 4 corners. So now that we have our overhand knot in the corner of our towel or the corner of our blanket, I'm going to take a piece of rope and I'm going to tie it around, and I'm going to make another overhand knot, and I'm going to make sure that this one is inside the hole. So when I make the hole, it jumps through, and I make my overhand knot, and now my rope is connected to my towel or to my blanket or to my shower curtain, okay? So let's tie those 4 pieces of rope on the corners of our tree, on the corner of our shower curtain. Now you should have your blanket or your towel or shower curtain or a tarp or whatever you have. Your rope is up, your tarp or your cloth is over top. We have our overhand knots in the corner, our overhand knot with the piece of string. Now I should be able to take this piece of string and tie it to one of the little stakes that I stuck in the ground. I could tie it to the edge of my bed if I wanted to, or tie it to my dresser. There's one tied. Now let's go over here and tie this back one. I'm just using an overhand knot. Sometimes if you want it to stay for a long time, I could do another overhand knot, but for today I'm just going to do one. So if you see, boys and girls, what I've done is I've actually made a tent without any sides. This would be in an emergency if I was stuck in the woods and I needed to sleep tonight and I wanted to keep all the rain or something off the top. I could just build a quick shelter like this. I only need a piece of rope, a couple of small pieces to tie my edges down. I need to know how to do an overhand knot, and I need to know a few of the little secrets that we showed you today. Well, I think Mr. White's a little tired. I've been working out hard. My heart rate is going. My breathing is getting a little bit heavy, and I need a nap. So I think I'm going to crawl in and have a little nap. We'll see you later. Okay, boys and girls, here's my shelter. It was kind of fun just to make. Now, here are the things you have to remember. Number one, we need to have that rope that goes from one area to the other. And I picked 2 trees and I tied my overhand knot. I tied 2 of them there, and I tied 2 at the other end to hold it on nice and tight. The next thing I did was I put my tarp or my sheet or my blanket up over the string, up over the rope, and then I had to hold the bottoms down. So what I did was I was lucky enough to find some sticks, and I drove those sticks into the ground, and then I tied an overhand knot in the edge of my sheet. There's my overhand knot right there. And then I tied a little overhand knot from the white string down to another overhand knot in my stake. So there's one overhand knot, and one overhand knot down there into my stake, and that kept the side of my tent and the side of my shelter down. Here's another look at it. There's my overhand knot. There's a white rope overhand knot. There's my stick overhand knot, and my shelter is there. I really like my shelter. I had a nice little nap there. I'm glad you stuck around. Well, I'm going to take this shelter apart because it's time for me to go home. It's starting to get dark and I don't want to be here all night. Well, that's it for shelters today, boys and girls. Here's what I'd like for you to do. I hope you remember all the points that we went over when we made our shelter in the woods. Here's your challenge for this week. I'd like for you to make a shelter. It can be a shelter just like this, or make your own shelter out of your own things in your home. I want you to make that shelter with some help from parents if you want, or you can make it on your own. But here's the catch. You need to sleep in it for one night. So it can be anywhere in your house, as long as mom and dad or whoever's at your house allows you to do that. Build your shelter, but it can't be over your bed. You cannot sleep in your bed. You can sleep beside it on the floor. You can sleep in your closet, as long as you make a shelter and you sleep in it for one night. Now you can put your blankets and your sleeping bags or pillows or whatever. You can make it nice and comfortable. But I want you to try this week to stay one night outside of your bed. Just pretend that your bed is gone and now you have to make your own shelter. Just like the animals in the wild, they make their own shelter. Okay? Good luck with that. Let me know how you make out. Thanks for being outdoors. I'm Mr. White. See you next time. Boys and girls, there's another muskrat. He's coming our way. Looks like he's got a stick in his mouth. He changed directions. You can see the edge of his tail sticking up in the air, kind of like a steering stick. I think he was headed somewhere and we stopped him. Let's see what he does. I'm not going to bother him. I'm just going to watch him. Do you see him floating there in the middle? Come on, Mr. Muskrat. What are you going to do? I think he's playing dead. Oh, there he goes. He still has his stick or something in his mouth. It looks like a little bit of cattail. Maybe it's his dinner. Oh, there he goes. He's gone under.